On November 16th, the 5-member SRC will consider a vote to dissolve itself, and Kenny is confident that it will be approved. Joining me now is Sheila Armstrong from the group Power. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, Amanda.
It is a pleasure. Talk to us. No matter of fact, how long have you been trying to dissolve the SRC?
We have been trying to dissolve the SRC for 2 years now. Okay. Power is part of a bigger coalition called Our City, Our Schools. And we started this battle. The actual battle started over 6 years ago with the actual SRC. When they first did the big layoffs, the big closings of 23 schools across the city, that's when Power stepped in and realized something has to be done. The people's voice was not being heard. Decisions was being made behind closed door. And all Power want is and Our City, Our Schools, we want transparency, we want accountability, and we want to ensure that the people's voice is being heard.
Right. So for the people that are listening, how is this going to affect the public schools?
Well, we will not see the long-term effects of this right immediately, okay, because we have to go into the governance. It's a whole process of everything that is going on. So parents don't have to worry about seeing any immediate effects of like school closings, anything of that nature. But what we want to make sure the public and the people get involved, because what Mayor Kenny is saying and what we are supporting is that it's time for Philadelphia, the residents of Philadelphia, the people that live on these blocks, to own our schools and own our neighborhoods. And at the end of the day, be accountable for the children in your neighborhood. That's what Power is behind, because we realize that the children in this whole process are the innocent victims in this situation. So that's where we want to make sure every child, regardless across this city, regardless of the zip code, regardless of what they look like, regardless of the income level, they are getting a quality education in Philadelphia, across Philadelphia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I know people are saying, well, it affects the kids, and they may think, well, I don't really have kids. How else is it going to affect them? Even like, say you might have grandkids or something, but just explain to them how this affects in other ways.
So with this, it takes effect in a whole lot of ways. You may not have kids in the actual public schools district, but what it affects is it's going to have an effect on your property taxes. It's going to have an effect on the jobs of the coming to Philadelphia or not coming to Philadelphia. I know Philadelphia, we put a bid in for Amazon to come here. Amazon, what they're going to look at is the schools there. Because if they're going to start a headquarters here, they're going to want to make sure that wherever the headquarters is going to be at, their employees is educated, their children is educated. And we got to look at the long-term vision of this. What's the effect 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now? Is we going to have a strong economy? Because at the end of the day, there is a very strong correlation between education and economy.
That's some good information. That's going to make somebody think at home. Now, you have been fighting this fight for a couple years now.
Yes.
Are you excited that we're finally getting ready to get some answers?
I am ecstatic that we are finally getting some answers. We are finally going to be somewhere. And what I'm excited is for November the 16th to come, because of the fact that I'm still right now feel like I'm in a dream and I feel as though when the vote happens, that's when I finally wake up and be like, all right, it really happened. Because unfortunately we're dealing with Philadelphia politics. And we don't know if the SRC, because they are still individuals, they still want to have people in their ear, if they really going to really dissolve. So it's always going to be a concern that if this really going to be happening. Even though Mayor Kenny, he was very strong and adamant in saying that the SRC will dissolve, I still, I tell people, as a woman of faith, I always hope for the best, but I prepare for the worst. So we got to be prepared just in case, however the vote go.
That is true.
Yes.
Because you put things in place, but the chips may not always fall where you want them to fall. Yes. But we're positive and optimistic. If somebody says, well, what is Power? How do I get in contact with Power? I want to get involved. How would they do that?
Well, you always can go to our website, which is www.powerinterfaith.org, or you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. Every social media site, you definitely can find Power. And we are everywhere. So just Google us. I always tell people that's how you can get involved. We definitely need people getting voices. And please understand, if you have children in your block, You are accountable for these children on your block, on your neighborhood. That's what Power want to see, and what we encourage people to do as people of faith is be accountable for the children in your neighborhood, because unfortunately we know we living in Philadelphia, which is the biggest, poorest city. So we just say, get involved. Make sure your voice get heard. Right now is the time. If you want to talk about these kids living on your block when the schools get out and walking down the street and they sitting on your curb, this is the time to get involved. You get tired of the school bus dumping trash on your block, this is the time to get involved. So whatever you got concerns about the schools, the school district, property tax, jobs coming in, it's time to get involved. Because if you, by being silent, you are still involved.
Yes. It's like, don't get mad, get involved.
That's right. Yes, indeed.
Because you think about it, when the kids aren't in school.
Yes.
They're running the streets.
They're running the streets. And exactly. And then at the end of the day, when you think about it, education is the key to solving all our social ills, because everything always turns back into education and empowerment. When you sit there and talk about people knowing laws and rights, they need to be educated. When you talk about how to deal with issues in the family, conflict resolution, they need to be educated. You know, I sit there and tell people, imagine if we taught conflict resolution in schools now early. Imagine 10 years from now, we might not have as high as a crime rate. So that's why I want people to think about, envision the future.
I like that point. You know, if conflict resolution started over the Play-Doh and the crayons, we might have a better outlook on some situations. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.